Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello. So, this is the second lecture of week 2. So, we are going to discuss some good practices of universal design. So, we have already discussed the harmonized guideline, the accepted norms and guidelines and standards. So, we will see that how these can be implemented in the real life scenario. These are some, say an example of entrance ramp. Now, one challenge for providing ramps to entry of the building could be that maintaining the adequate slope when the level difference is considerably large. If you have something as simple as that straight, you can have it easily. But when you have something like this, then what you need to do, you might need to turn the ramp so that the entry level can be accessed. Only additional consideration in such cases would be that after a specified distance, you need to give a flat surface. You need to give a flat surface as a landing so that someone can reach there, take a turn and then again take the next slope. Because it is difficult, just if you have, if it is possible, just try to, sit on a wheelchair and move it, or try to push someone through the up the ramp in a wheelchair. It takes a lot of effort. So, it is important that you give enough, resting spots, what you call, when you have these long ramps. So, while providing ramps, please remember that even if you maintain the adequate slope and you are maintaining the adequate height of the railings, it is also important to give these flat surfaces or the landings. Okay. Now, next is, but when you are having a walkway, that is 1:20, not ramp. There is no such requirement for giving this flat surfaces, because it is expected that 1:20 is a reasonably comfortable slope. So, sloped walkways you can have continuous, provided you have the space. Many a times it is what happens that these ramps are integrated into the building function, particularly when you have museums and all. And this is a very interesting example whereby, these can you see these directional stones or directional slabs. So, these slabs give the direction which side to go. So, they have been integrated into the wall of the ramp. So, this is a very common practice whereby you integrate the building function into the movement space, which is the ramp. Second option of negotiating vertical differences are definitely the elevators. So, this we know, the standard lifts, and these are called the platform lift. Now where are these platform lifts used? If you maybe are going for something retrofitting, you have not planned a lift elevator, but you have a small level difference, say a floor or half a floor to negotiate. You can go for this vertical platform lift, but under no circumstances should these be used for moving up to more than 2.1 or 2.4 meters, because otherwise this might be risky. And also they do not require any kind of a lift pit or all. So, they are very good retrofitting solutions. So, this was a museum at Hull I saw, whereby there were steps like this, and they just had a very small a level difference to be negotiated, put a very basic lift. So it is just this much, this many stairs, but it is very useful. And also you might have these wheelchairs which are or chair lift, these are called. So these are sometimes tied to the rails which are attached to the handrails of the staircases. Now escalators are good, but please remember, escalators are not universally accessible. Escalators are not good for people who are on crutches because they cannot keep up with the pace. Escalators are not good for elderly people, but only where you require mass movement, the escalators are good. For able-bodied person, when you do not want to trouble them by asking them to take the steps. So, but they also can be aided by directional signs with lighting under handrails and various other supportive measures. This is a very interesting building in Anandaloy in Bangladesh, where it shows that can you see this very basic ramp that they have used for this, and it is a single winding ramp which connects both the floors, making the building entirely wheelchair accessible and mobility device friendly. One of the first public ramp in the region. Sanitary features. So these are all measures from this harmonized guideline only. Now it can be done in many ways, like every part needs to be accessible. It's not that providing grab rails are important or providing low height urinals are important, but say an elderly person who might require a seat in the shower area, which might be a fold down shower seat, so that you have that flexibility also. Accessible, example of accessible showers. Now just wanted to highlight one thing here, like this is a very tailor-made solution, maybe very robust, but these are fixed to the ground. This is good for a crutch user, but if someone wants to take the wheelchair very close to this place and use the water closet, that is not possible again. But yes, this is a very tailor-made solution. So options are multiple, but only what is to be decided is that you need to feel the space and decide how to put and where to put. Next, signage and wayfinding. Examples, these are certain examples of like escalator emergency stop buttons, floor number signage fixed to the elevator door frame so that someone can understand, while within the elevator. Do you see this blue contrast signs? Why are these or these? Why are these? Because this will people with low vision, not for blind, people with low vision can understand where the floor ends and the wall starts. Otherwise this, because many people, they do not have 3D perception. So if there is no 3D perception, for a able-bodied person it might sound very easy that where the floor starts, where floor ends and the wall starts, but for someone who does not have a 3D perception, looks flat, for him or her these are very important. So wayfinding signage, we can see this on Indian streets also, like what are the standard, we just saw in our earlier lecture that what are the preferred color combinations, so blue and white. Okay, now here I would like to highlight one thing, that these color combinations are, why are some of the color combinations accepted more? Because there are color blind person also. So certain color combinations are foreground contrast is important. So certain color combinations are not recognizable by people who are color blind. Therefore it is important that you have the color combinations which everybody can understand. Talks about these are the examples from Pune. So say the mount signs, they have mounting height of signs. Inclusive furniture were in access in public places. Some examples from Delhi. Accessible playroom, be it interior, be it external. Now let us see some. This was what we discussed so far are, I mean, the specific item specific examples. Now let us see some good practices, external starting for external environment as well as internal environment, that both at building level as well as the precinct level. So this is a school, inclusive school at Varanasi. Now which they have emphasized upon the various rehabilitation plans, small classrooms, family involvement, because inclusion is beyond physical. So how you can, I mean, say this is say small classroom. When we talk about small classroom, we probably have gone to the level of the inclusive. Actually, we have gone to the level of the inclusive design, because we know we are thinking about interaction here. It is probably not possible to that in a classroom of strength 40 to give individual attention which an inclusive school would require. So that's why the small, when we are talking about, we could have arranged big classroom which is flat surface, properly well designed and all, with good ergonomically designed furniture. But if you have a class strength of 40, then probably we are not hitting that level of inclusive design which requires us a proper interaction between a student and the teacher. So that's why here we are actually moving to that level of inclusion. When we are thinking about how people would use the space, when you have understood that how your user, how your intended set of users would use your particular room or particular space, you have learnt it. Accessible library, that this is a Sugamya Pustakalaya, where it has got accessible books and with the help of connected with the assistive technologies. Under SBM or Swachh Bharat, this is the accessible household sanitation. As you can see, use of this is a bamboo, I mean the handrail made up of bamboo. In Indian toilet which have been made accessible. So it's not that I mean, just please relate this to UDIP, Universal Design India Principles. The 5S. So the economy part of it, Sasta. So it is possible to have the optimum technology or adequate or appropriate technology for solving problems. Bhimabhai School for Blind. They have a talking library for the blind. One of the first of its kind. Special school in the state. Accessible polling booth. I mean, we have talked that I mean, you have to give access to every type of building, every category of building is important. Accessible police station. I mean, accessible tourism. Accessible monuments. Now it is not being made accessible. Now this Konark temple is not being made accessible to the final level, but up to a certain level it has been made accessible, and also the work is on that you can there are installation of the railings and all, so that you can climb up. I mean, at least with support, those who can, they can. Because we have discussed this, that there are so many categories of disability. So even if a person on a wheelchair cannot go to the furthest point, but maybe elderly people or people who are on crutches, they can, with the help of the proper railing, they can go to the maximum point, to the maximum extent possible. This is a Akshardham temple in Kolkata, where they have these ramps which are integrated into the building and with proper railings and all. We have this convention center where there are various parameters like accessible parking, accessible entry, the wheelchair accessible seating places, accessible toilets. So a very good example from Varanasi Rudraksha Convention Center, where many of these are there. Proper wayfinding. Now, this is a very special example. Now, this I saw in Bhubaneswar, where there is a National Career Service Center, and what they do, they are they are actually arranging for employment of person with disability. They have a employment fair where the people who are recruiting, the companies come and they recruit person with disabilities. We have talked about, the right based approach, that they should be if you remember in our in the first lecture, the lecture 1 or lecture 2 and 3, we were talking about that productive inclusion of person with disability in the society, give them access to all sectors of life. So, this is a very good example in which they do all kind of activities like interviewing the person with disabilities, assessing them, giving them, testing them, providing them assistance, sponsoring them, so that they connect them to the prospective employers. They also give some kind of a loans and all, so that they help them to set up their career. Well, you might argue that this is something not really to do with architectural standards, but design a building like this, that also would require an accessible facilities, but the vision of this building is to empower them. I mean, we have talked about normalizing and empowering. So, this is a kind of the empowerment of the person with disabilities. Some outdoor spaces, say All Abilities Children Park. They have got a dedicated space with multiple levels of play. The entire park, there's a ramp, there are smooth surfaces, children friendly, elderly friendly. So, it is a very with transgenerational spaces. So, where though it is a children park, but there are transgenerational spaces, so that even elderly people can come and sit, and under their vigilance, their supervision, children can play. So, we are talking about, when you are talking about the vulnerabilities, we are also including children as well as the elderly people. So, this is a very good way of integrating the two vulnerable groups of the society, so that some kind of they look after each other. Yeah, the sensory park at Bhubaneswar. So, this is a very good example under the Smart City Mission project. So, they have got all accessible play furniture. See, this is a wheelchair swing. There is a ramp, and someone can take the wheelchair there. You have this braille wall. You have the entire floorscaping is done with the help of wherever required, this TGSI or tactile ground surface indicator tiles. They have this where children can go and play with the balls, but that is accessed by a ramp. They have this, this will open and someone can get there. So, this is how the swing operates. This is that merry-go-round kind of a thing. So, this one you can just this will open. So, or rather this will open. So, the wheelchair will come here, and on this track, on this circular track, this will move. So, it's not the buildings that are to be made accessible, but outdoor recreation is very important. So, this was our team, we were studying these, and these are all these TGSI surfaces which are there. Similarly, the Chennai Sensory Park also in similar line is a very good standard of inclusive design, where they have equitable access to multisensory engagement, safety and social equity. They have tactile elements, aromatic plants for a person who cannot see. They can probably feel different parts of the garden. Auditory features are there, sound producing water elements. Think about someone who has never seen what is water, someone who has never seen a river or an ocean, gets introduced to this feature, this natural feature, with the help of these sound producing water elements. Braille signage and visual art. Tactile art walls. It's not that just giving tactile braille signage and tell that there is the toilet or there is the exit, but tactile art wall. visual art, braille signage and visual art. Wheelchair accessibility is basic is there, mobile supportive services, fiber soft playground, so that someone if the children fall, they do not, they are not hurt. Inclusive play equipment, inclusive sports. Slightly different but very important, on a garden of 5 senses in Delhi, where they kind of it promotes the multi-sensory engagement, stimulates all our senses. It's targeted for educational, cultural inclusivity, and of course considering physical accessibility. Outdoor spaces like open spaces like streets, where these crossings are considered. So there is, as you can see, is one thing that is very important to note here. There is seamless continuity. It's not that you cross one road and you then get stuck. Proper curb cuts with tactile signage, so that you are not stop anywhere, you can go all through. So these are very important. So very clearly defined routes. You have a space for someone who is moving, a place for the slow moving vehicles or these bicycles, and you have then you have the vehicular zone, which is properly demarcated. And as you can see, these are, what are these? These are the warning tiles, and the person is stopping here. Accessible beaches in Chennai and Puri. It's very easy to make, not a big deal, just you have to have the intention. Someone can take the wheelchair right up to the water line. But well, you have to have some special wheelchairs maybe, because otherwise it will sink into the sand. The Dilli Hut in New Delhi, good example of the barrier-free design with wide pathway, gentle gradients, accessible toilets. So I have tried to cover examples from many places across the country. So there's a request to all who are maybe attending the course that if possible to just go to the nearest, which is the nearest of the whichever is nearest to your house and nearest to your home, and just have a feel of these places if you have not done already. And done in a very, it's not imposed, done in a very, in well integrated manner. Now, accessible street shopping with something which may be very easily doable. Don't need to take a lot of effort. This is, I think, people who are from Delhi know this place, this CP Connaught Place. Transportation and urban mobility, accessible streets. You have a place to sit. You have a proper buffer between the vehicle and the pedestrian area. You have proper light. So you have these tactile tiles also. You have these push button. A simple, what I would say, simple solution. Just what these are called curb cuts. Like you have a median, but if someone is trying to cross the road, is not stopped there. Can just wait here, wait for the traffic to pass, and then can cross the entire road. But generally what we see, that the medians are continuous. So a simple pedestrian cut through in the median can be a lot helpful. So it's not that interventions need to be very well thought, well designed, well planned, but maybe a little bit of sensitivity can help people who are more vulnerable than the able-bodied people. So this is a very small intervention, but a very useful intervention. Even think about this car, the height of this, an elderly person is difficult for an elderly person. So just can wait here and then pass. A street for people in Beijing, China. A very happening and relaxed space with all the features. You have these tactile tiles, you have these scooter parking zone, you have these people sitting and relaxing there, young mothers are there, elderly are there, and you have these bollards which separate it from the vehicular crossovers. But you just see the distance between the two bollards. The bollards are there to tell you, well, this is vehicle, this is pedestrian, but the spacing between the bollards are adequate so that you can take the wheelchair through. So just being sensitive. Accessible transportation, where you have these proper gates, you have the space within the, we'll discuss more on transportation later. So just want to touch upon to show that these exist. Extra wide automatic flap gates, tactile path for visual impaired, low floor buses, ramps, and this I don't want to discuss it here, but we'll have a special session on digital accessibility. But this is important that because since our country is going online, so how you that should not, and we are having more and more online, services, urban services for faster service delivery. So it's important that we also consider that these or rather or take a serious consideration for making these websites accessible. Thank you.